You thought he was done? You thought the takes were too hot to handle? You better think again. He's back with even more scorching opinions, more controversial predictions, and the kind of truth bombs that only Zain Bando can deliver. If you missed the first round, prepare yourself. This is the follow-up you've been waiting for. It's time for Zain Zinger Part 2, another certified hit from the Empty the Bench Network. Here's your host, Zain Bando.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Zain Zinger Part 2. My name is Zain Bando. Hope you all are doing well on this Sunday morning, Sunday, May 24th, 2026. Hope you all are doing well. Once again, it's a gloomy Sunday morning in the state of Illinois, specifically where I live in the Chicago suburbs after a pretty nice day yesterday, but it is what it is as we continue to transition from the spring to the summer. Shout out to the 16 people who are already in the stream as of this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, a few quick reminders before we get started with said stream today. We'll go about 30 to 45 minutes today like we usually do. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the ETB Network. To do so, go to youtube.com/ETB Network. And of course, this is an extension of the flagship show, Bando's Breakdowns. You can listen to Bando's Breakdowns wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, and so much more. Tons of audio-only platforms, so choose one of your choice. And of course, you can watch the show live, or not live, every single Friday, rather, on YouTube. Well, sometimes live, I guess. But you can do so every Friday on YouTube, youtube.com/ETB Network, every single week as we're slowly but surely approaching our 4,000 watch hour goal. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. Do that whole thing. It tells me that you like the kind of content I'm putting out, including this very extension of the program, which of course is none other than Zain's Zinger Part 2. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Zain Zinger Part 2 is live right now on a lot of different platforms. We're live on my YouTube channel. We're live on the ETB Network YouTube channel. We're live on the ETB Network Twitter account, MMA Outsiders, ETB Sports, my Twitter account, the Bando's Breakdowns Twitter account, and the Football Forecast Twitter account as well, just to add some more reach there. So we already have 20 people in the stream, so shout out to you guys for tuning in. And just a shameless plug before we get started as well, because I like to do this every single Sunday, as long as I don't forget. And this week I didn't forget, but the next episode of Bando's Breakdowns will be this upcoming Friday, May 29th. So check that out. May 29th, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. No guest this week. Once again, we may have a guest. It's not confirmed at all. In fact, for this particular guest, we have plenty of time in order to get this interview locked in. So we'll keep you posted on when that's going to be and everything. But yeah, as of right this minute, it'll be a regular show as per usual. But I figured I would mention that as well. All right, let's not waste any more time here. It's the first stream of the day. But before we get to any of the topics on today's stream, I wanted to make a quick plug, really quick, for one of the newer shows on the ETB Network before we get started. And that is Fight IQ with my former MMA Outsiders co-host, Tom Albano. It airs every Monday at 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live on many of these same platforms. And without further ado, here we go. Step into the cage every Monday night with Tom Albano. Fight IQ breaks down the world of combat sports with the precision of a championship game plan. From analyzing ground control PFL events to breaking down the technical mastery of the world's best strikers, we covered the technique, the drama, and the business of the fight game. If you want to understand the IQ behind the world's most dangerous athletes, Tom, as you covered every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And again, it is live every Monday at youtube.com/EDB Network. Go check out his show. I'm pretty sure this week is his third episode. And then, of course, you can tune in on Saturdays, mostly right before the UFC event gets underway, a couple hours before, to hear his best bets for the weekend. And he did so yesterday in previewing some of the PFL action that took place yesterday, as well as today's current card, the meeting card that's currently going on right now from Abu Dhabi, which is still very early on in the evening over there for them. And that'll be a tape delay broadcast on Vice. You can stream it on YouTube right now for those of you who are interested in that. But nonetheless, though, that's it for that. Let's get into the stream itself now that we have that out of the way. I would be remiss if I did not begin with the marathon that was the Brand Risk number 14 event. And of course, it was headlined by Johnny Manziel, former Heisman Trophy winner, first ever freshman to win the Heisman at the time for the Texas A&M Aggies, and the first freshman to ever win it in Heisman Trophy history. Eventual NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, who was ultimately a bust, taking on social media influencer, internet personality, and an interesting human being. Let's call him that. In Bob Menery, that was the main event at 205 pounds. A mix of MMA and boxing last night from the Apex. So, for those of you who maybe have never heard of Brand Risk before, I'm going to do my Cliff Notes version. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll give the longer version because we have some time. And in fact, we do have some time. So let's break down the circus that was Brand Risk 14. All right. So for those of you who have no idea, and I look like I'm a deer in the headlights here, and nobody knows what I'm talking about, I will back up multiple steps to. Well, luckily, we're. It's funny that this just occurred. We have lost power into residence here. We're luckily on a hotspot, so we can keep going for as long as we want. It's just a little bit darker. There's nothing I can do about it. But nonetheless, though, there's there's that crazy switch up early in the stream. But nonetheless, we're still going strong. But anyway, as I was alluding to, right in the card, the mix, six MMA, as I just said, Manziel, Menery, about Brand Risk, though, compared to the UFC, and I will explain exactly that. It is very different. It's different in a lot of ways. It's very influence driven. So Aiden Ross is the guy who founded Brand Risk. He's a very, I guess, abrasive, very young guy my age, and he's a streamer. It's as simple as a kick streamer. He has a lot of backing, gambler. Um, but overall, though, things have gone extremely well for him. At this point, he's made more money to deal with, and overall, though, he's done extremely well for himself. This was without his biggest event to date. There's no remote. But I have said that though. Let's sort of take a look at the event. This is the first event outside of their Florida-based warehouse. Is what it ended up being, and it was a pretty big event from a celebrity standpoint for a lot of celebrities that showed up. Notable who can do, and I Okay, we're back. We had an unexpected power outage there. We're still actually out of power, but we can continue from where we were. So I apologize if the screen just went dim for a bit. Um, Actually, let me just make sure. Hang on, nonetheless, though, as I was explaining before, obviously Aiden Ross is a very successful kick streamer, has done a lot of good in that space for building up his following for such a young entrepreneur, and has already dove into the influencer boxing and MMA scene. So that's exactly what last night's card felt like. You had Super Hot Fire against Ray J. You had Lance Stevenson and Michael Beasley. You had some notable celebrity type names on the card. It was nothing crazy special or anything, but it was one of those cards where you didn't know what to really expect until the card happened, and the card was extremely late, nonetheless. But yeah, that's essentially the big difference. Is it's very influencer driven as opposed to the UFC, where it's a very MMA based league or promotion where the best fighters in the world compete every Saturday. Um, but nonetheless, though, that's basically the gist of it. And again, shout out to the 15 people that are still in here. I'm so sorry. It just it abruptly kicked me out. So there's not much I can really do. But thank goodness for hotspots. And actually, to be fully transparent, this hotspot is the reason why we're getting through the stream. To be quite honest, so we'll try to just move as quickly as we can to get it in within a timely manner, given what time it is. But nonetheless, though, the fight was kind of dumb. 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Manziel gets the takedown, mounts Menery pretty quickly, punches him, elbows him, and gets the fight stopped with about 37 seconds left in the round. Um, um, but yeah, I mean, it was really just an easy win. It was a super easy win for Manziel, and it was not even remotely a fight. It was quite dumb, in fact, really dumb fight, as dumb of an influencer fight as you could think of. And people are, you could say, oh, Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano wasn't that good. That made Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano look like a Hall of Fame fight. Let's be real here. So I was happy that I got that prediction right, and in fact, we have our data pulled up here. I can see how I did on this card yesterday. Let's take a look, or this morning, in fact. It's freaking crazy. It was this morning because it started at 10 p.m. my time. It was a freaking mess. Let's take a look at how I did it because you were allowed to pick on this card, this Menery Manziel card. Let's see how I did overall. I think I did okay. I went 5-6, which isn't great, but we did get the main event right, so I guess I'll take it. I've never picked a brand risk event before, so I had no idea what to expect, but I'd say 5-6 is not bad. For my first brand risk, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that was that. There's not really a whole lot to say other than both guys are content with being retired and all of that, which I guess is a good thing, right? So there's that. And yeah, I don't know what Aiden Ross's next plan is going to be, but it certainly won't be one that's going to be pretty. I don't think it's not going to be one where people are going to be jumping off the chain to try to watch any of these fights unfold. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's basically the Manziel Menery recap. If you want to go check it out, the entire card is on YouTube. You can watch it. Speaking of influencer bullcrap, or I guess in fight bullcrap drama, Ryan Garcia obviously been in the news. And that's not, and that, no pun intended, is supposed to be targeted to be fighting Conor Ben September 12th, potentially in Vegas for the the Alphabet Championship, let's call it. And Ryan Garcia said some choice words to Ilia Topuria that Ryan Garcia would smash Ilia Topuria if they ever fought, and Ilia Topuria basically came out and said, dude, you're not even in the same league as me. Like, shut up. And honestly, this is just a dumb beef. To be honest with you, I think it's really stupid. Ilia Topuria has a big fight coming up. He doesn't need to be worried about what Ryan Garcia is saying about him. Ryan Garcia is a nutcase anyway. He's been a nutcase for a long time. He likes attention. He likes a lot of it, and it's certainly a terrible look for Garcia. Ilia Topuria is a badass. He's clearly defending himself. That's not even a remote question. The thing is Ryan Garcia is looking like a fool, and that's what truly makes it a bizarre ordeal overall. So there's not much I can really say other than chalk it up. It's a non-story. It was a viral story for a couple of days, but that's really it. As we continue to move forward to our final couple of topics, the NHL and NBA playoffs have finally reached a bit of a okay, we know where we're headed type of thing. So the Knicks obviously are one win away from going to the NBA Finals. They knocked off the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 last night in a very non-competitive game. I didn't think it was that good. The Knicks won 121 to 108, dominant win. And the Thunder on Friday took a 2-1 series lead in Game 3 in San Antonio, beating the Spurs 123 to 108. That's been the better series, but taking a look at the Knicks, if we can here, Anunoby with 21, Josh Hart with 12, Karl Anthony Towns with 13, and Jalen Brunson going crazy. Even though I'm not a big fan of him, the Chicago suburbs native Jalen Brunson going off for 30 points in Game 3 and a huge win for the Knicks. And even Mikal Bridges played really well. He had 22. Taking a look at Cleveland here, Evan Mobley's 24 and Donovan Mitchell's 23 were not enough to carry the Cavaliers in a must-win game. And since we're live right now, I can tell you when Game 4 is scheduled for, in fact, according to the Google machine here, because I don't remember. It is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. East or 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern on Memorial Day. Knicks and the Cavs. Knicks win. They go to the finals. And let's even take a look, because I'm a real NBA casual here. The last time the Knicks made the finals, I think, was 95. Knicks last. Let's take a look. Yeah, 1999 was their last finals appearance. So the year I was born. Can you freaking believe that? So it took those damn Knicks 26 years to potentially get back to the NBA finals, and hopefully they don't choke in the next week, because that would be a freaking disaster. The entire city in New York might burn to the ground if that happens. No, I'm joking, but there will be a lot of angry fans. Let's just put it that way. And then Oklahoma City, man, that's been a great series. Some high quality basketball. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus Victor Wembanyama. Can't get any better than that. And looking over at the hockey side, because we haven't really discussed it, let's talk about it now. Looking over at the NHL, there's been some surprises, but the Carolina Hurricanes were able to survive Saturday night to win in overtime against the Canadiens 3-2 to tie up that series. And all of a sudden, the Vegas Golden Knights have all the momentum going into Game 3 in Sin City against the perennial Stanley Cup favorite, Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche were looking really good, and it looked like they were coasting to the final, and now they're going to have to do some dirty work here. Can they do it? That's going to be a major question mark. I'm not sure. But what I can tell you is, Barbashev had a huge game for Vegas. Jack Eichel had a 2-point night for Vegas as well. Looking over at Colorado's end in Game 2, Brent Burns was held to only 1 point and 5 shots on goal. Nassim Kadiri had only 2 shots on goal. This offense was just completely shut down the whole night. So they're going to have to go through, dig deep, and find a way to pull through and carry through to try to get a piece of this series back. Huge piece of it back. Whether it will, whether it won't, it remains to be seen. But this is a big week for the Avalanche to try to save their season. And speaking of Las Vegas, I guess, and venture capitalism, even though he's not a Vegas guy, Scott Coker, former Bellator president and former Strikeforce founder, is back in the MMA space. Big bombshell announcement on Thursday. Nobody saw it coming. Scott Coker, a longtime MMA promoter, has been doing it for 20 plus years. He's a San Jose guy through and through, and is back with an unnamed promotion. It's going to be a year-long tournament format, and it's going to focus on one weight division at a time. I wonder if it's going to be a World Cup style concept where we're going to find out who some of the best fighters outside of the UFC are in this world tournament. I stole a PFL term there, world tournament format. I do think the year-long tournament where you only focus on one weight class, I think is the way you should do it. That's the reported word on the street, and that's what Coker verified in a recent interview. I'm blanking on who he did the interview with. I think it was the New York Post, if I'm not mistaken. The Against the Cage podcast, I think, with Scott Fontana and the other guy, Jake, who he as with. I don't want to butcher his last name, but those two do a good job on that podcast. And it looks like Coker is going to go into the business of trying to not necessarily compete with the three letters, but say, hey, we might have a chance to do something here that we haven't done in a very long time, and we want you to be a part of it. That's what I think the message is to the fighters. We'll see how the pay structure goes. They don't have a TV deal yet, which is a little bit concerning, but they do have $60 million in funding from a lot of people, including Tony Hawk, people with ties to the Yankees, people with ties to DC United. So there's a lot of corporate backing. There are some MMA guys. There's some TV executives, most notably Kevin Kay, who was instrumental in building The Ultimate Fighter from a Spike standpoint back when it was Spike and not Paramount Plus. And obviously he's the former president of Spike. So we'll see, man. We'll see how this all goes, but I'm interested. I know a lot of people are against this. A lot of people think, oh, Coker couldn't do it with Bellator. Strikeforce dissolved. What makes you think that this is going to do anything else? And I just think the landscape of MMA is different. You now have streaming platforms that want more content that is MMA related. The accessibility of these fights is a lot easier now. And I think people are, he kind of alluded to it in the press release, and I'm just going to say it. People are starving for some different types of stuff. I mean, the UFC is great. They have a great TV product. They have a great in-house product. But at the end of the day, sometimes just the sheer changing of the guard, if you will, is sometimes a good thing. And I'm not saying they'll overtake the UFC or anything, but it is one of those things where it'll be interesting to see how it builds if they bring in notable names that people remember and put on some fights that maybe have not been possible in years past. And he's even open to doing co-promotion. So with Ryzen MVP, who knows? Maybe the PFL says, sure, we'll do a reunion and we'll partner with Coker and we'll put some fights on. It'll be very interesting. You just need to make sure of three things. It's got to be a viable TV deal. It's got to be easy for people to watch these fights. Number one, it's got to be super easy because right now the PFL put themselves in a bit of a hole with this ESPN deal. It's not been easy to follow them. And John Martin, who I think is doing the best he can, even admitted that their lead-ins to the PFL aren't very good, so that doesn't do them any good. So a viable TV deal is critical, especially in the United States. That's number one. Number two, do not, and this is a fair warning, do not go on Saturday nights. You have to own a night of the week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Don't go Tuesday because of Dana White Contender Series. Don't go Monday because of Monday Night Football. Thursdays, you can get away with because if you air it late enough after Thursday Night Football, it's a great lead-in if people want to stay up. I think Thursday nights or Friday nights would be the golden sweet spot. And even if they did Wednesdays, which is clearly open for much of the year, that would be gigantic. They need a night where it's them. Dana White Contender Series, it's religiously Tuesday night. They need to own a night of the week that doesn't conflict with one of the things I just said. If they can do that, it'll be a pretty cool success right out of the gate, especially if the fights are good. So I believe in the product. I hope it works. It's three things: viable TV deal, fighters that people know about, and put it on in a window where people don't have tons of conflicting things that they'd rather watch. It's as simple as that. That's why I think the PFL going this weekend when they did was good. But I personally think that the Brussels event yesterday, while it was entertaining, it should have been an American card. It should have been in the United States, and with no UFC, it should have gone last night, and it should have been a pre-lead into the Menery Manziel circus. People should have had their MMA fix last night with PFL. It shouldn't have been in a random time in the middle of the day when people were out shopping or at MLB games or whatever, which is what I was doing yesterday. It should have been at a reasonable hour yesterday. And if they can figure that, if Coker's new promotion can figure out that they need to own a night of the week, they will be successful. Just like USA's Tuesday night fights. There's tons of other examples I can give as well, but there have been nights where it has been dedicated to one product and it is delivered every single time. And the UFC has found that with Saturday nights. They played with Friday nights in the early years of the Zuffa regime. It didn't work. They went to Saturday nights and they own Saturday nights. And now they own almost every Saturday night. If Coker can find the day that is their day, that it is his promotion's day to shine, they will be a success. That is my bold prediction. And then the Cubs, they are a disaster. They lose again yesterday. Can't even get a run in. 3-0 loss to the Astros. They've been a complete tidal wave disaster since the long-standing winning streak there. A lot to work on. They were booed off the field yesterday. I don't think the Pete Crow Armstrong incident with the fan has helped matters in any way. I think it's brought down the team's morale. I kind of alluded to this a week ago that the team's morale has not been where it needs to be in quite some time. I actually have a comment here. And who's the comment from? Let me answer this here from Diego. So the question or Dingletoe, what is Manziel MMA? Because of my power going out, I can briefly explain. So it's not Manziel MMA. Johnny Manziel competed last night. It was his amateur MMA debut. More than likely his only MMA fight that he'll ever have. Um, in Brand Risk Promotions. I kind of explained it earlier, but I'll do it again. It was started by an influencer, Aiden Ross. He has a lot of different capital and betting sponsorships and a lot of other things. And he got the blessing of Dana White and Hunter Campbell to do an event last night at the Apex. And Johnny Manziel headlined this Brand Risk event. So he does not own an MMA promotion. He's not ahead of one. He was just the front face of this event last night. So just to clarify, he fought Bob Menery and it was Brand Risk Promotions. And if you haven't seen the fight yet, it's super quick. It's all over social media. It's on Twitter. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. Go check it out if you haven't. It's a sheer, just one-sided beatdown of Bob Menery. So if you're not a Bob Menery fan or if you want to see a one-sided beatdown, it's a pretty good, hilarious fight to watch. So thanks for the question. I appreciate it. But yeah, as I was saying just a minute ago about the Cubs, just the morale has been down a little bit and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know where they go from here other than they just need to take a deep breath. They're probably going to get some guys back healthy, would hope. And it's a long year. And I keep telling myself that it's a long year. They didn't really get hot at the right time until midsummer. So this past season. So maybe consoles guys can find it in them. And maybe after the All-Star break, maybe they start playing their best baseball. But that all remains to be seen. But that'll do it for all the topics today because I have a few extra minutes that I want to kill. Let's go over a few quick reminders here while we can, and let's pop up some stuff. Let's actually plug a few more streams now that we have them. So, screw it. Let's do some more reads. Let's go through an ETB network update, kind of like what Nick Morgeson and Callan McCord do on Press Row. So let's go over some shows for the week. So let's do our show, and in fact, Nick and I's show. That is, in fact, we're going to be airing it this week on a special date. It'll be on Thursday this week, at the same time as it always is, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. we decided that with the Memorial Day holiday, we give ourselves the day off. So we're going to be airing this on Thursday. So without further ado, let's do some reads. It's the flagship show that started it all. Join Nick Morganson and Zain Bando, myself, for Empty the Bench every Wednesday, 6 Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We're emptying the tank on the biggest headlines in the sports world, from the NFL coaching carousel developments to CFP predictions and major sports business mergers. This is where the foundation of the network meets the current pulse of the industry. Don't miss the show that defines our coverage. And again, youtube.com/ETB network is where you will want to find that. And of course, if we can plug a few more, and screw it, we'll just plug my own. Go beyond the highlights with a personality-driven look at the games you love. Join myself for Bando's Breakdowns every Friday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. I dive into the tape, focusing on bracket-busting collegiate performances, individual brilliance on the court, and the trending news that keeps everyone started and keeps everyone on their toes, rather. It's a masterclass in sports commentary that prepares you for the weekend ahead with expert analysis and a point of view you won't hear anywhere else. And I can toot my own horn and say, no, most of the things you hear on that program you will not find anywhere else. That's why it's a must listen every single week, only on the ETB network, as well as wherever you get your podcasts too. And of course, with this stream, Zain Zinger Part 2, you can catch it everywhere, as I just alluded to. Everywhere that is I guess, an accessible platform. So with that being said, let's just do a quick reminder. You can catch the episode right now as we're wrapping up, the very end of it, or the replay, besides the part where I was not on screen for a couple minutes because of my power going out. You can check out the replay on YouTube and or X. So this week we were streamed on the ETB Network YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, the ETB Network Twitter account, the MMA Outsiders Twitter account, my Twitter account, Bandish Breakdowns, and of course, the Football Forecast Twitter account. And having looked at that again, it probably should have been a different platform this week because we really didn't talk about football really at all besides the Manziel angle. So I guess it does work in a sense there. What am I talking about? Anyway, though, that'll do it for another edition of Zain Zinger Part 2. This has been the May 24th, 2026 edition. We somehow got through it. And we somehow, some way survived a power outage, and we improvised and we conquered, and we still did a stream today. So shout out to you guys for the wait. It was a little bit lower on the numbers today, but shout out to the 32 loyalists that were in here. Shout out to the question that was posted earlier in the chat. We appreciate it. We like more interaction because the more interaction that we have on these, the more we can talk about and the more we can keep the conversation flowing. But for everybody here at ETB, and for those of you looking ahead towards the future in all of our programming, keep it locked in on the channel. Stay fantastic. Be sure to subscribe. I'm Zain Bando. Have a great Memorial Day. For those of you who like to celebrate that with your families, loved ones, and significant people in your life. And until next week, we will see you guys soon for another edition of Zain Zinger Part 2, as we will be talking about the month of June that is very much right around the corner. So until then, have a good one. Thanks so much. And again, shout out to the loyalists who were in here today. We were a little bit lower on the numbers, but we'll keep it rolling next week and the weeks ahead. But until next time, I'm Zain Bando. Have a good one. Peace out. Enjoy your guys' days, and cheers. Thanks, everyone.